I just have okay, it's just a thought that came to me, Weyman.
I heard it come.
Because I think, because Pastor Bob touched on it, in giving our best, when we are alert, when we to our, we operational. It's not like you're still wiping the sleep out. Oh yeah, Lord, yeah, I love you. All that kind of stuff. Because I think, because the busyness of everyone's life, and a lot of times I think what happens is, you always hear this talk that the only time that I can give God is when I go to the restroom.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
I mean, and I'm like, wow, life must be real tough. I mean, if that's your way of escaping or saying that's your time when you have a quiet time with God, or that's your moment, you in trouble. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you just are hard pressed, well, besides going to the restroom, but
nobody's that busy, Peter. Nobody is. You make time for the things you value the most. If you're a golfer, you make time for golf. If you're a singer, you make time to sing.
Yeah.
And if you are one who is pursuing God and loving God, you make time for that. You just do. And you hate to be hard-nosed, but there's no excuse.
No, there really isn't, because that what you love, you will pursue.
Absolutely.
And you will move your schedule around
to make it happen.
If somebody says, "Hey, I got 2 tickets to the Oakland Raider game," you're an Oakland Raider fan, you'll manipulate, you'll connive, you'll do everything you can to make it happen, even though you may not have had that time slot open.
Sure.
I can't come to work today, boss. I'm sick. Got a sick day.
But we do whatever we really.
That doesn't work for me, by the way. Sunday games are out. If you ever get tickets till Monday, I'm on.
But we do that no matter what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's something we really desire, we figure out. Come on, I used to figure out ways to make things happen.
Yeah, we are creative beings.
Yes. We used to call it creative financing.
Yeah.
We figure out ways to make things work, to make things happen. So the first thing we got to do then is have that quiet time. And in let's just be honest, I guess. For most people, because of the society we live in today, because of choices that we have made, that becomes difficult unless we change some of our choices, huh?
Absolutely. It's what you place value on, and what choices come from those values that you set. This is a value that I have. If it's a value that you have for your kids, you make time for your kids. If it's a value that you have for whatever, you make time for that. It dictates what your choices are, what your values are.
Okay, now how about to somebody that says, yeah, but you don't understand. I got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get in my car and commute.
Cool.
2.5 hours up to the city in this traffic that's terrible. By the time I get through work, it's 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm in traffic again. It's another 2-3 hour drive back home. By the time I get home, I'm so tired. All I want to do is maybe sit up for a few minutes and go to bed and do the same the next day. I mean, I'm sure.
I have 2 answers.
Okay.
If you're already getting up at 4, getting up at 3:45 is no problem. That's my first answer. My second answer is if you have 2.5 hours of commute, turn off the radio and spend the time with the Lord. You can drive, honestly, you can drive and spend time with the Lord all at the same time.
with your eyes open.
Yes.
Yeah, with your eyes open. Yeah, you don't have to get religious. It's just a relationship.
So then maybe it has to deal, and I was being kind of facetious with what I'm saying, but it is, I'm sure you've heard that, just like I heard. So then maybe it has to deal with our concept of what quiet time is. Quiet time.
Well, yeah, because we immediately want to go to a religious mindset that says, okay, well, maybe I have to burn candles, or, I've got to be, in holy robes, or I've got to, my car doesn't have stained glass, how am I going to do this, We immediately go to some kind of a religious doing something, and that's not what quiet time is. Quiet time is your heart open before the Lord, and just beginning that communication with him, just telling him that you love him and letting him tell you that he loves you.
But you know, man, like 5 minutes of silence seems like forever. I'm trying to play the.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, like, what do I do for 5 minutes and not talk?
Listen. Which, by the way, happens to be one of the reasons why there's such a high divorce rate in this country. Let's get on that soapbox for a minute. But I don't think we listen well as human beings. I don't think we do. I think we're, when people are talking to us, we're already formulating our answer. And we're just waiting for them to take a breath so we can jump in. But
I got an even better one.
Like that.
When you're talking, when you're talking, like, continue talking. Here's what they do, like this. Go.
So people aren't listening, and so how can you have communication when they're not listening? They're just wanting to give a speech.
Yeah.
You ever heard of speech? Okay, that's good.
But don't we do that? We do that in the
sure.
natural. Don't we do that to God?
I think we do. I think God's going, will you breathe? Will you stop a moment? I have something to say. I think God does that all the time. You say, well, he's God. Why didn't he just burst in onto your conversation?
And that's why we have what we have. We have those rates, whether it be divorce or, I mean, if you look media-wise or what you find in society today, all the things that are happening, I mean, sin is running rampant. People's hearts are so drawn away by even acknowledging who God is or wanting to take the time. Everybody doesn't like to be corrected, or that sounds like, you correcting me? You remember my rights? More than just using that term, but God lovingly, keeping us on a path of where we can live a life that's right. I think we live a life that's right and holy before the Lord. Then this way, because whether it be your spouse or everything else, that will fall automatically into place, into play.
Maybe the problem lies in the fact, the difference between hearing and listening.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who have a difficulty with that. They're hearing something, but they're not listening.
Hearing feedback.
Yeah, we do that with our wives, don't we?
Sure.
Sure.
Sure we do.
Yeah.
Yes, dear. What did I say? And then you have to stop and think. Say it again. I know we do that with the Lord.
Yeah. Yep.
Were you listening? Sure. But could you repeat it? I want to make sure I got it right.
What was the sermon the pastor preached? This church was great this one.
Yeah.
Oh, what was it about? Oh, I can't remember.
I don't know, but it was good. Yeah.